Jordan River 7 times, and that we're not wroth with what God's doing. But yet we're excited and encouraged about the opportunities of bringing others to Jesus Christ. You know what we have to figure out? We have to figure out still how to fulfill the Great Commission, even though we can't bring people to church. You know, I've said this ever since I've been here. For the last 20 years, I've said this. But more souls will truly come to salvation in Jesus Christ by you witnessing to them and talking to them personally than you bringing them to church. You have to win somebody to yourself even to get them to church. See, you got to understand something. We've replaced the concept or altered the concept of the Great Commission to think that the way that we meet it is by bringing people and inviting them to church so pastor can preach to them so they can get saved. And I got to tell you, you know what? You are the best picture of Jesus that your friends, family, and neighbors will see. And you have the best opportunity of telling them about Jesus Christ, one-on-one, person to person. You say, well, what about not forsaking the assembling of yourselves together? What about the church as we know it? It's still there. We can still join the church and still be members of the church. We can still fulfill the things and the roles in the church. We can still do that. I look at this and I really believe that it's high time for us to change something. Because you know what we've done? New York calls it a state of pause. I feel like we've paused the church. And it's time to stop pausing the church. I'm not talking about going against the rules and saying we're going to fill our parking lot and gather here anyway so we can go to jail and do all kinds of disgrace the name of the Lord and do all of that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, you know what, starting to be concerned about souls like Jesus is concerned about souls. Realizing that this time, that God will use this for good, and that great things are coming out of this. And God's doing a work, not only in the hearts of souls and people out there that are lost, and what we would call the heathen out there, but in you yourself right now. And don't try to pass it off and say, but I don't know what I can do. Yes, you do. And if you don't, I'll tell you where to start. It's on your knees in that little room called the prayer closet. And you might say, I don't even know what to say. That's a good place to start. Just be there in that little room. Quiet and alone with God. And I got to tell you, if you're there with your heart prepared, and you're quiet and alone with God, as a rushing mighty wind, he'll meet you there. But Naaman was wroth, verse 11, and went away and said, behold, I thought he will surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God and strike his hand over the place and recover the leper. You see, you got to understand something. I had it all planned out how God had to do this. No, I'll just send some servant out and tell you, go wash in that Jordan River 7 times and you'll be cleansed. That's all. That was the whole thing. Go wash 7 times the Jordan River. The messenger just came out. Go wash 7 times the Jordan River and you'll be cleansed of your leprosy. Period. Done. There it is. What? No way. No way. He even went on in verse 12 and named a couple other rivers. And the reason I'm saying this is because I can't pronounce them. No, I probably could. But he says, are they not better rivers than this one? And he turned away, it says in the end of verse, so he turned and went away in a rage. Are you wondering where God is today? I got to tell you, we need to get back to it because God has never left us nor forsaken us. He's the same God that's still here. And we need to get a hold of God in our prayers. We need to be persuaded just like his servants had to come to Naaman and persuade him to go wash in the river. Because look what it says, verse 13. And his servants came near and spake unto him and said, my father, if the prophet had bid thee do some great thing, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he saith to thee, wash and be clean? You know what I feel like today? I feel like God's looking at us and he's saying to us, wash and be clean. Although we may be, in our own eyes and the eyes of others, just like Naaman, captain of the host, honorable, even mighty men of valor. But are you a leper? Wash and be clean in the river Jordan, in the blood of Jesus Christ. And the Bible tells us to work out our own salvation. It's not talking about being saved for all of eternity, but it's talking about living the saved life, the victorious, saved, forgiven life each and every day. Wash and be clean. As we let an invitation song play, God's worked on your heart. You might not be able to come to this old-fashioned altar and pray, but you can find your place on your knees and speak to God, and he'll meet you there. He just says, wash